This is a platform for showcasing the outcomes of Skills Development Fund.
The Skills Development Fund has actually transforming what we do now.
Through this training, we are now doing about 40 digesters a day.
The Skills Development Fund came in, and now we have this wonderful edifice you see here.
This project has really helped us tremendously. It has helped in our growth, helped in our survival.
Helping local businesses to build capacity and also to take their products to the next level.
Watch SDF Diaries on ETV every Saturday at 8:30 to 9 a.m. SDF is managed by COTVET, an initiative of the Government of Ghana with support from World Bank and Danida. Do not miss out.
According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, there's a huge explosion in the production, export and consumption of fish, especially tilapia, in Africa, USA and the EU, with the US importing over 1 billion worth of tilapia in 2012. The annual estimated demand for fish in Ghana is over 800,000 tons, against production which is less than 200,000 tons. The demand for fingerlings, particularly in Ghana and West Africa in general, is so high that close to 60% of fish farmers along the Volta Lake have to wait for an average of between 2 and 3 months to get supply of fingerlings, and up to 25% of them still never get supplied.
Well, it's lunchtime and lunch is served already. This afternoon I'm having banku and tilapia, one of my favorite meals. Talking of tilapia, do you know how tilapia is produced? Well, today we visit Flosell Limited. They are producers of tilapia. My name is Albert Ankra, and you are warmly welcome to SDF Diaries. Join me for lunch. This is a platform for showcasing the outcomes of Skills Development Fund.
The Skills Development Fund has actually transforming what we do now.
Through this training, we are now doing about 40 digesters a day.
The Skills Development Fund came in, and now we have this wonderful edifice you see here.
This project has really helped us tremendously. It has helped in our growth, helped in our survival.
Helping local businesses to build capacity and also to take their products to the next level.
Watch SDF Diaries on ETV every Saturday at 8:30 to 9 a.m. SDF is managed by COTVET, an initiative of the Government of Ghana with support from World Bank and Danida. Do not miss out.
The small town of Bakba Tademe near Sogakapa in the Volta region is the newest to see the growth and establishment of a modern recirculating aquaculture hatchery for the production of table-sized tilapia fingerlings by Flosell Limited. Flosell is a limited liability company incorporated in May 2010 and started tilapia production in 2011. The company's current production site is on the dam at Dawinya, with about 35 production cages producing about 150 metric tons of grown table-sized tilapia and about 800,000 pieces of tilapia fingerlings annually. The company supplies fingerlings to other farms at the Dawinya Dam and also on the Volta Lake. They also sell table-sized tilapia to hotels, restaurants, hospitals, and some financial institutions. The company also receives orders from clients in neighboring countries like Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. Flosell's main objectives are to develop aquaculture intensively, to farm tilapia fish to serve both the local and the international markets, to become a model farm and a preferred development partner for aquaculture development in Africa, to become one of the leading fish farms in Africa in 5 years. Mr. Danso is the managing director of Flosell Limited.
The main objective is to produce tilapia fingerlings to feed into the growing tilapia industry, because as the industry is growing, the deficit in the protein requirement is growing. There's also a big gap in demand for farmed fish versus actual supply, which is currently about 500,000 tons, which translates into over 50 million fingerlings every year. There has to be industries that will be able to provide these fingerlings that serve as seeds or input materials to this industry, and that's what Flosell is about. And we're doing about 500,000 every month, and that means 6 million fingerlings every year. This is what we are set out to do.
I'm going to do fry collection. We have parent fishes here. That's what we call brood stocks. We have male and female fishes here. So we keep them here for 2 weeks. Then after the 2 weeks, we come to collect their fries and eggs. So that is what I'm going to do now. And then before you do that, you must have your water ready. You must have the water in a bowl like this ready, and then your scoop net before you start collecting the fries. If you don't do that before you collect the fries, they will die. So you must have your water ready before you start collecting the fries. So here we go, I collect my fries. What I'm going to do now is to fish each fish out from the net and wash the fries and the eggs from their mouth. So that is what I'm going to do now. So before you do that, you have to wear your gloves so that you don't get hurt by the fish. So we have a special scoop net for that one too. If you want to do that, you have to do that to fish the fishes. You fish the fishes either 4, 3, 5. This is male fish. The male fishes also sometimes helps in the hatching. What they also do is that when the female lays the eggs, in the process they also helps the female to collect some of the eggs in their mouths. Then along the line, if you don't collect the fries on time, they eat it up. We have, it depends. We have a ratio. Number one, we put 3 female and 1 male in a cage.
This water, you have hydrogen peroxide. Peroxide is an oxidizing agent, so it's going to help us with the killing of our disease organisms. So it stays in for quite a while. And then from here, we do an estimation where we estimate the number of fry.
Flosell, like other hatcheries, employed primitive technologies which saw low survival rates for the fingerlings. In the case of Flosell, even though they yielded in excess of 170,000 tilapia fingerlings fortnightly, by the time of their growth, they harvested just about 70,000, registering losses averaging 60%. This was due to the manual processes they employed, coupled with a high level of contamination of the fresh river water. Additionally, the unavailability of modern breeding technologies led to high mortality rates, thereby reducing annual productivity by 60%. Mr. Evans Danso intimates that such a capital-intensive downward spiral had to be harnessed.
Our main challenges when we were operating that site was we were not able to meet our own requirements in terms of fingerlings, and then we were not also able to meet the requirement of other farmers that were buying from us, because our yield was hardly beyond 70,000 fingerlings every month. We had huge variations in survival. Sometimes we could have very good survival at 80, and other times we could have survivals very low as low as 30%, which was impacting on our revenue and our incomes. So we were so challenged under those circumstances.
In August 2014, the company made a successful application to SDF with the objective to introduce innovations that will halt this trend and spur growth. The company contacted Florence and Neogen, an expert company in the recirculating aquaculture system based in the Netherlands, to set up the technology with the capacity to produce up to 1,800,000 fingerlings per month. Based on their technology requirement, Flosell to undertake the project of establishing a recirculating aquaculture system that would ensure constant production of healthy tilapia and fingerlings that meet international food safety standards. With the SDF intervention, the company currently has a clean and hygienic hatchery which houses 24 1,200-gallon tank nursery, with each tank capable of holding up to 40,000 fingerlings. They also have 12 specially designed tanks for breeding 14,000 fingerlings each. The hatchery is also equipped with 16 additional tanks which hold about 15,200 fingerlings each in what they refer to as the sea reverse isle, being the hormonal development stage of the fingerlings. Operating with purified water through reverse osmosis from the Volta River, Flosell has provided employment for 15 new staff in the community it operates and is currently producing 650,000 tilapia fingerlings monthly to meet the ever-growing demand from locals as well as international farmers.
This is a platform for showcasing the outcomes of Skills Development Fund.
The Skills Development Fund has actually transforming what we do now.
Through this training, we are now doing about 40 digesters a day.
The Skills Development Fund came in, and now we have this wonderful edifice you see here.
This project has really helped us tremendously. It has helped in our growth, helped in our survival.
Helping local businesses to build capacity and also to take their products to the next level.
Watch SDF Diaries on ETV every Saturday at 8:30 to 9 a.m. SDF is managed by COTVET, an initiative of the Government of Ghana with support from World Bank and Danida. Do not miss.
The current mortality rate of less than 5% is a huge improvement over the previous system of production, which culminated in 60% mortality rate of fingerlings. In an interview with SDF, he explained the reason for SDF's support to the corporation. He was quoted saying, "The project will equip the company with the technology and skill needed to transform production capacity. Productivity is expected to increase, which we expect to lead an increase in revenue and the ability to meet market demands."
Yeah, demand for fish as far as Ghana is concerned is quite high. We need about 800,000 tons. We are only doing 200,000 from our oceans and the other water bodies, which means that we need to do something about it. So the aquaculture industry has become very essential for us if we are to overcome this challenge. So the support from the Skills Development Fund went to Flosell Limited, which is in the aquaculture industry, growing fingerlings to supply to other fish farmers who need fingerlings to stock their ponds and to go into production. Except that before they came to the Skills Development Fund, the technology they had in place was not very efficient, in that they could produce about 700,000 pieces of fingerlings and only come up with 70,000 of them ready to sell, which means that there is a very high mortality, about 60%. And therefore, the fund went into supporting them to introduce a new technology called the recirculating aquaculture system, which helps with aerating the water that is used and also conserving the water and making sure that the fingerlings receive the adequate amount of oxygen that helps in their growth. And also this helps to lower the mortality, and therefore that if you produce 700,000, you are not going to lose another 60% of that. This is a more efficient system. And so we believe that Flosell will now be in a position to supply quality fingerlings to the players in the industry who need fingerlings to stock their ponds and then grow them to the table size that you and I require at home and in our restaurants and so on. So we as SDF are excited about that. We believe that this will make a positive impact in the industry.
This is a platform for showcasing the outcomes of Skills Development Fund.
The Skills Development Fund has actually transforming what we do now.
Through this training, we are now doing about 40 digesters a day.
The Skills Development Fund came in, and now we have this wonderful edifice you see here.
This project has really helped us tremendously. It has helped in our growth, helped in our survival.
Helping local businesses to build capacity and also to take their products to the next level.
Watch SDF Diaries on ETV every Saturday at 8:30 to 9 a.m. SDF is managed by COTVET, an initiative of the Government of Ghana with support from World Bank and Danida. Do not miss out.
Bernice Abba Agri, farm manager on the recirculating aquaculture system and its benefits.
The recirculation aquaculture system have been very beneficial to the company, I must say. Taking into consideration our growth and our survival. In our past systems, when we didn't have the RAS, also known as the recirculation aquaculture systems, we used to have just tanks with water stored in them. We don't have frequent exchange of water. Thereby, it was affecting our oxygen demand. And once our oxygen demand is not good, it affects our growth. So you realize that even as you keep putting more feed, they keep growing, the sizes are not that encouraging. So with this system that we have now, we've been having very encouraging results, and I think it's a very good one. After a number of 21 days where we do our sex reversal treatment, we used to finish sex reversal at some 0.1 grams. But with the RAS system, with the RAS now, we sometimes are able to finish SR 0.4 grams. And it's a very huge difference of 0.3 grams, and we think it's a very good one. Quantities, it has really helped. You can stock a fish sometimes. You can stock a tank 19,000, and initially, because we were not having the frequent exchange of water, the survival, like I said, was very low, and so you could end up sometimes very low figures, single figures like 9,000, 10,000. But with the system now, you stock 19,000, you could get back sometimes 17,000, 18,000. We think it's very impressive. Currently, our focus more is now on the fingerling production, because you realize there are so many farms springing up, and you would want to meet the demand of the market by producing more fingerlings. And so even at certain sizes, let me say sometimes at a size like 0.5 grams, you already have customers on a list already rushing for fingerlings. So even to the size that the market will normally want at the 1 gram, we sometimes don't get to that point at 0.3, 0.5, more especially after the 21 days of sex reversal. You have to just distribute to your customers, just so that you can still, because the more we distribute, the more we have spaces to store more for the next batch. So that's what we've been doing basically.
Eunice Ako Esiambia, hatchery assistant, tells us how the technology has improved the company's operation.
Before the recirculation aquaculture system, we used to have tanks outside here. So whenever the fries are collected from the cage, they bring them to our point there. Then we try to take out the dirt from it. So after we take out the dirt, we pour them into the tanks without nets. And then by then we even have the blowers working. So oxygen check, the way we check the oxygen level as we are doing now, it's not as what we've been doing at first. But now that we have the blowers working and then we have the recirculation aquaculture system running, it's easier, because when the fries are collected, we take out the dirt and then we pour them into the tanks with nets, and then we have the pumps also working. So whenever the water is bad, we try to change the water to regulate the oxygen level in the tank. We also have some DO meter that we use to check the oxygen whenever it's light out. So we check the oxygen to make sure that it's enough to make the fishes survive. So whenever we check it and it is low, we take out the pipe at the outlet, then we run the water out to run another clean water to regulate the oxygen level. But at first, when the recirculation aquaculture system wasn't in place, sometimes the fries are left because they don't have enough oxygen. And then when the water quality too is bad, we don't have any other option. So they are just left there and then sometimes they die. Now that we have the recirculation aquaculture system running, it has increased yield because at first when the fishes are left there without oxygen, they die. But now that we have the blowers working, we have enough oxygen, so the survival is high. So we have enough yield and then the growth too has increased.
Said them Kwaku Agboja, Cage Operations Supervisor, gives us an insight into how the technology has impacted his operations on the river.
And the activities that occurs on the cages, fry collection, sampling, grading and transfer. Talking about sampling, that is when we check the average body weight of the fishes. And talking about grading, that is when we separate the bigger fishes from the smaller ones and put them at one place. And feeding as well, we also feed the fishes as well. That is most of the activities done on the cage. Due to the new technology system that we just adopted, it's helping us enough to have more fingerlings on the cage. At first, we need to wait up to 3 months to have fingerlings on our cage, and you can see most of the times our cages do need to be empty for a long time. But due to the system that we just adopted, we do wait for only 2 weeks to have fingerlings on our cage. So I would say due to the system, it's more beneficial than at first.
Investment in this industry will provide the amount of fish this country needs, and also to help increase health benefits as well as increase incomes.
I, on behalf of Flosell Farm, thanks SDF for finding this technology. It has been very helpful to this company, so I thank them very much.
I want to say a very big thank you to SDF for funding this project, the recirculation aquaculture system. We are very grateful. This project has really helped us tremendously. It has helped in our growth, helped in our survival, and it has even helped in our revenue. Our production has much more increased, and so we are able to meet the demands of the market.
The Skills Development Fund, SDF, is an initiative of the Government of Ghana with funding from the World Bank and Danida to help Ghanaian firms become competitive. Visit sdfghana.org.
This is a platform for showcasing the outcomes of Skills Development Fund.
The Skills Development Fund has actually transforming what we do now.
Through this training, we are now doing about 40 digesters a day.
The Skills Development Fund came in, and now we have this wonderful edifice you see here.
This project has really helped us tremendously. It has helped in our growth, helped in our survival.
Helping local businesses to build capacity and also to take their products to the next level.
Watch SDF Diaries on ETV every Saturday at 8:30 to 9 a.m. SDF is managed by COTFET, an initiative of the Government of Ghana with support from World Bank and Danida. Do not miss out.
Well, as you can see, I'm almost done with my lunch. I really enjoyed every bit of it. I'm also sure that you also enjoyed this week's edition on SDF Diaries, learning how tilapia is produced. Unfortunately, this all time will allow us on SDF Diaries, but please make a date with me same time next week. Bye for now.